Okay, I'm gonna wait for a couple people to get on and make sure you guys can hear me fine. Because if you guys are having trouble hearing me, it's the new headphones I'm trying. So I'm gonna give it a couple minutes and see if people get in. If everybody can hear me fine, I'm gonna go over a probable cause affidavit, and we're gonna go through what was written, and it's called the state. If I end up dead, the TikTok murder victims, uh, on warnings, lead cops to bones found in dumpster. And whoever's in here, can you hear me okay? Like, so far, everything I've said you can hear all right. An Indiana man has been arrested after his roommate disappeared, and the investigation led police to a dumpster filled with bones. John Christy is charged with murder and the death of his roommate, Brandy Bradley. Christy is the male you see, and Jamie Lamberson is the female. And the reason I have this picture up here later on in this, you will see why I have this picture up here. I want you to remember this picture and what it looks like in this picture, and then what she is trying to say. Attorney information for Christie is not listed in public court records as of February 29th. On February 11th, Bradley, 44, was reported missing in Kokomo, according to arrest affidavit. The person who reported her missing told police she hadn't heard from Bradley since mid-February, January. And I want you to keep in mind, it took 30 days for close family and friends to finally report Bradley is missing. She was already missing 30 days prior to this. While speaking to the police, the person said there was a history of violence between Bradley and Christy made threats to kill Bradley in the past, the affidavit said. Authorities discovered what seemed to be a warning from Bradley posted on her social media, her TikTok. If I end up dead, my dismembered body is found all over Kokomo. It will be John Christie, Bradley said in the video, shared to social media. Police spoke with people who knew Bradley. One person said they last spoke with Bradley on January 20th on Facebook. Look at the time and date of this video, this picture right here. According to court documents, the person told officers there has been physical altercations between Bradley and Christie, in which Bradley was choked out between December 30th and January 19th. Police were called to the apartment Bradley and Christie shared together 5 times. So mind you, if they were looking at this male and female domestic violence, this is another issue. It goes back to why did not why did the Kokomo police fail over and over and over again? They kept failing. Oh, here's a protective order. Here's a date come Monday to go and get a protective order against this guy. 5 times to the house, did nothing, didn't take either one of them in, nothing. That's another preventable death by KPD and their mistakes. But here, we're going to keep going. Authorities tried to track down Christie to question him about Bradley's disappearance. On February 14th, they interviewed Christie at a police station, records show. During the interview, Christie said he hadn't seen Bradley in about 3 weeks since they got into an argument at the apartment. You look back, it looks about spot on time wise on what this picture that's showing right here with those two in the picture. During the interview, Christy, you already read that. When officers asked Christy about him inquiring about a burn pit, Christy said he had some old items from his late wife, who died July of last year, and he had some items from his ex uh, late wife that he wanted to burn. According to the court records, however, he said instead of using the property in Oakford, he burned the items in a dumpster at a job site in Kempton. Police asked Christie if he had anything to do with Bradley's disappearance and if they would find anything unusual in the dumpster, to which Christie responded no to both questions, according to the affidavit. While searching the dumpster a second time, so yes, you got to keep in mind, they went a first time to the dumpster in Kempton, secured the location. Must have hurriedly looked through this dumpster because they found no remains, no bone fragments, nothing. They just hurried up, secured it the first time. Is this sounding familiar? They secure a crime scene of a missing person they're looking for, like the Delphi girls. And I want you to keep in mind, John Christie, Jamie Lamberson, Brandy, her family, all their friends, their family, go back in and around this cartel drug ring. Multiple drug raids, and other missing cold cases. So I want you to keep that very, very front of your mind right now. But we're going to get into something. They secured the crime scene, the dumpster that he put her remains in. It wasn't just him. We're going to get into that. But they secured it one time, left the scene, came back, secured the second time. That's where we're at now. While searching the dumpster for a second time, authorities found what appeared to be burned human bones, including what looked like to be fingers, arm, rib bones, according to the affidavit. That's just a very few bones. Where are the teeth? Where's the skull? Where are the femurs, the other bone fragments? There was another post that I was reading where I'm going to get at here in a second, that when the person he had paid $500 came over to help him, he said it smelled like it was the place is full of battery acid. So I got a feeling what Brandy was saying. If I found dismembered and found all over Kokomo, John Christie did it. I think she predicted her own death down to the fact where, if you look at the very first TikTok, if you look at my community page, the very first TikTok was Brandy's head coming out of a dumpster fire. It predicted exactly what would happen to her on her last TikTok. Her very first TikTok shows pretty much what happened right after her last TikTok. That's kind of spooky. But we're going to keep going with this. Police said they also found red carpet fibers inside Christie's vehicle that matched the red carpet in Bradley's room, and some found in the dumpster. So there's red carpet from inside Bradley's room. But yeah, they said there was red carpet that was found inside Brandy's room, found not only inside the dumpster itself, but there was carpet fibers from Brandy's room on her in the dumpster, as well as it showed back, yes, it was from her room. So the carpet that was in her room showed up at the crime scene. So you cannot say that wasn't her from the crime scene, from his apartment, that shows up right there at the dumpster. The same carpet fibers show up at each place. But on February 16th, we're going to get some jail phone calls. Police interviewed a woman, Jamie uh, Lamberson, the female you see here, who knew Christy and spent time with him at his apartment during and after the murders. What do we see right here in the picture? Jamie told police she overheard Christy on the phone with someone talking about disposing of something. She knew damn well what he was talking about, and I guarantee you she played a pivotal role when it came to actually killing and helping dispose and get rid of Brandy Bradley. The same person she's had multiple fights with, and Brandy's let this be known. She's ran Jamie off multiple times, got in a fight with her multiple times. And you try to tell me, Brandy, with what she's about to say now, the women, which Jamie said when she asked Christy about it, he got really, looks like fucking mad, the affidavit said. Then he told her if she said anything about it, she was going to end up in the same place she's at. Jamie told the police. When she asked Christy what he meant, he said he grabbed her and began choking her, according to police. So Jamie's trying to say he grabbed her, was choking her, she feared for her life, but yet at the same time, does this look like somebody that's scared for their life, choked? I'm gonna be next if I talk about this. Sure the hell don't look like it. Looks like somebody's that was partying up, getting high, and loving life and loving up on the one she was dating. That's what it looks like to me. On February 18th, while the woman was incarcerated in Howard County Jail, a phone call between her and Christy was recorded. While on the call, Christy asked the woman on how her interrogation thing went. Then he asked her, "Did you tell them I did it?" according to court documents. If she wasn't there, did not witness, participate that he took a life in his apartment, why is he asking her, "Did you tell him I did it?" That right there is them telling on each other. During an interview with an unnamed man, police said the man told them he was contacted in mid-January by Christie asking if he wanted to make 500. Court records said when the man showed up to Christie's home, he said Christie opened the door and said it's done. The man said he asked what he was talking about, and Christie opened the door, took the man inside. The man told police it smelled like battery acid. So I want to know where are the rest of Randy Bradley's remains, and what could be very well submerged in battery acid. This guy right now said the moment he walked in, it smelled like battery acid in that house. There is multiple missing remains, bone fragments like femurs, some big pieces of bone, skull. You got your spine. Big things that would took hours and hours and hours of a hot, 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 hot fire, more than you can get in a dumpster. What this guy is not saying, and you'll see what I'm talking about. We'll get back to this. The man asked Christy, what did you do? What have you gotten me into? He told police that Christy said he came home and saw Bradley trashed his house and he lost control. So he beat her with a wrench. Then there was another one I heard where there was, I believe, a plastic bag and a belt that was still around Bradley's neck. So must have beat her with a wrench. And then I'm hearing the plastic bag and a belt was used to, I believe, make sure she was dead, or one of the two. It had to have been used that way to ensure she was dead. And there's been two different things I've heard. Still just as horrifying as the last, but okay. This is where it is. After he beat her with a wrench, the man said Christy told him at some point Bradley woke up and began hitting her again, then placed a plastic bag, and that's where the belt comes from, around her neck, plastic, placed a plastic bag over her head, and put a belt around her neck. So she had to woke up again. So he hit her some more with a wrench, put a plastic bag over her head. That must have been when he got the belt and started strangling and officially killed her by strangulation. So I got a feeling it was strangulation with the plastic bag over her head and the other multiple blows she got by him that eventually what killed her. This is shame. Man told police he helped Christy move Bradley's body because he was scared of Christy and panicked. This is what makes no sense. Like I said before, he had to have also helped dismember, dispose of, as in buckets or whatever. There's more to his story. He's trying to act like he helped him pick up a body, load a body in a truck, and help put a body into a dumpster. And by the way, body, he's making it sound as is a full body, in which it's not. There's only partial remains in that dumpster. Where are the rest of the remains? A few days later, the man said he drove Christy to the location where the dumpster was. So, mind you, the picture Jamie and Christy are taken with each other, there could be remains in that house where they're partying up, they're getting high, they're eating at, they're making love. You get the idea. They're living with dead body in the next room, remains, what's left of a crime scene in the next room, and they're living on life normal from here on out. While that was in the next room, her room. A few days later, drove Christie to a location up in Kempton, and he said Christie told him he needed to burn it, referring to Bradley's body, according to police. Then he saw Christie light the fire. It became fully engulfed. Then it just goes into Christie's booked on several charges, including murder, February 27th. But there's a lot of missing pieces in that. There's where's the rest of her remains? Then, like I said, you get individuals like Jamie trying to get out of it. What And why is this individual that did help him, was it full remains? You're making it sound like a full body. You're making it sound like there was no remains missing, and they're not saying things. It took the family, close friends of hers, 30 days to report her missing, even though after knowing there's been attacks on her, she feared for her life, there's been a threat to her life. It took you 30 days. But I want to start showing you every friend that shows up on multiple of her social media accounts. We're going to start showing back to this drug ring, her own family, Frankie. You got Michael Bradley Jr. in the 2018 drug raids. You've got Jamie. You got Jonathan Christie themselves in and around that drug ring. Their friends all in and around this drug ring. Then I want to go back to about 25 cases in this one little area, Carroll and Howard County, in this area. We're going to go back to about 25, 26 different cases in this area alone. And we're going to start showing back the ties and connections. You got multiple friends of murderers being friends with each other, then even victims' families and the victims themselves at times are friends with some of them that guarantee you know a lot more that happened to their missing, killed, and sometimes straight up murder cases. But most of the 19 children missing, killed, and lives lost are going to be in this 25, 26 cases I go up in this area. Most of the children cases are right there, right here in this general location. It is a small location. Indiana's not all that big, but it's a small location, major, big meth problem. And what comes with this cartel drug ring is not just drugs. You got the sexual exploitation. It could be of minors too, and you got the sex trafficking part of this drug ring. So you got the drugs and you got the sex. It's all in one thing. Goes back to the same drug ring. And when you got individuals that deal for this drug ring, that their family sits in some high up place like Nicholas McClellan, his own brother, was doing 2014 for this ring. You got William Duff, which is Nita Duff, her son, the county assessor, who when the Patties and others would go assess properties, they would report back to the assessor. She would put on note, this is how much the property is worth. And Nick and Nita both, they sit higher up when it comes in the local political realm. They sit on the Republican board of that local area that goes back into deeper ties back into other higher politicians within the uh, government even, but like higher up political Republicans, Democrats. I've seen both sides, one and the same, be just as bad as the other. But I can see where some families, they're so hesitant they don't know who to trust. When you got some high up dealers, who their family are, that have legal powers, you get the idea. It leaves some of these people I do want to talk. Who do I trust? Who can I talk to get something done and actually gets done? But at the end of this, I'm going to be proving to you guys one major thing. The locals held many of these cases. They're Detectives failed many of these cases. I got a 2018 video. Indiana State Trooper, Detective Charles Chuck Myers, and you have him out of Miami County Post, same post that did Keegan Klein's sexual exploitation case, and you have Detective Benzinger, Kokomo PD, admit to over 40 child exploitation cases, including what we know now. Delphi were sitting cold on their desk. They did not have the manpower or the funding to look at one case at a time. Is all they could do. One case at a time. And they're trying to tell me that child exploitation, child porn, all federal charges, all federal laws is a state and local issue and not a federal issue. So I asked them on why will you not ask for help? Federal does that. That's something federal does look into. It's a state and local issue. It's nothing to Fed. That's not a federal issue. They kept saying that, lying to me when I knew when it comes to children, exploitation, child porn, it's all federal issues. I ain't an idiot. But FBI, the agent that was over me while I was an informant, we're going to get to all this. But FBI knew until failed act. It's still costing people their lives. Blood being spilled. But the local, even state, they know a hell of a lot more when it comes to this drug ring. If I'm seeing this criminal network, the analysis that I'm seeing, this criminal network, if I'm seeing this, you can't tell me they haven't seen it. Then the ties that go back into these missing gold cases. I've got an IMPD officer down in Indianapolis admit that his department is seeing this. So you got other departments wanting to look. If I'm able to see this, you can't tell me they're not seeing it. Then why aren't they acting? Why are they allowing more children, more adults, more people to go missing and killed? Delphi, Flora, and multiple other cases, they were preventable. They were allowed to happen. I have more than enough information that I can prove, validate, and back myself up with. There is a federal RICO investigation that needs to come into play with what we know about this drug ring, its involvement in around missing killed cases, including Delphi, and the fact that there is biasness when there is a drug dealer, his own family is the prosecutor. We have enough proof where we can get a special federal prosecutor brought in and involved, even on Delphi and other cases like Geronimo, among others, including Brandy's. There needs to be a special federal prosecutor involved in more than one of these murders, missing killed cases, including Delphi. Nicholas McClellan, when your own brother dealt for the same drug ring that's involved and around multiple missing killed cases, biasness and not looking at your own family, their own drug ring, where they were dealing, what they would know, and who they are still associating with that shows back to other missing cold cases, back to this drug ring and other dealers. We deserve, the people and these victims deserve full justice. We need a federal special prosecutor as well as a federal judge because this needs to be taken to federal court. As a former FBI informant for the Joint Terrorism Task Force, I'm seeing a foreign or domestic terrorism act and multiple lives being lost, blood being spilled over 71 times. Indiana alone, over 19 of these kids have lost their lives to this drug ring. I've got more than enough for Slick Rick and these elected officials and these dealers that have families. And like I've been saying, the cartel uses real estate. So individuals like Mike Patty, Becky Patty, getting paid to assess properties, to inflate properties, it's not unlikely to happen. It's been proven to happen over and over and over again. I'll pay you X amount of money if you assess my property and inflate it, even without me putting anything into it or renovating it. I got it at 50,000. Can you inflate that 150 so it'd be like 200,000 on the property and the building, what it's valued at? Oh, thank you. Here's your money and have a nice day. So when they go to sell that property, they got for 20, 30, hell, it could be $1 off a buddy of theirs. Reassess the property, pay off the assessors. They're coming out of this. Have like say a $20,000 investment. You got $180,000 sitting in your pocket after you sell that property with a revalued, reassessed, inflated 180,000 more than what you bought it for. Now you see why it is so lucrative for this drug ring, this cartel, to use real estate just like what I just laid out right there. It's so easy to do. Money can easily be exchanged. And look how much money they just laundered of dirty, bloody drug money into clean money. That easy. It can happen. And now you see why they chose real estate to launder their dirty money. Ding, ding, ding. A lot more families, a lot more individuals involved in this cartel, this drug ring. And when you got families like Derek, Terry, Brad German, Del Wood, go back to Kyle Stacy, Tyler Joe French, among others, and nothing to look at here. When you got family, including Anna, that's friends with multiple murders that sit behind bars, charged for murder, nothing to see here. Get real. They know, and I'm about to show from every aspect, every single detail to you, the people. You'll finally know what they know and what they not want you or the nation or international, anybody, to see. What has been hidden, and they've tried to stay hidden to keep that perfect image to go on these talk shows. It's been kind of hard to them talking about the drugs, the money, the debts, the rolling. There's your real motives and why the girls were killed.